Hi there, I'm Gary. Welcome to my channel and welcome back if you've been here before. Today I'm building the MiG-29 in the colours of the GHOST of Kyiv, the Ukrainian Air Force, in 1/72 from ICM. Now, if you've already got one of these, this is the video for you. If you're thinking about buying one and you just want to know what's in the box, there's a companion box opening video already online. And of course, there's going to be the combo of the box opening build and the bonus historical material also on my channel. Now, if you like the video, and I hope you do, then please do remember to give it a like, a thumbs up, that little logo down there. And if you haven't done so already, please do subscribe to my channel. It doesn't cost you anything. All you have to do is click on the small logo in the bottom right corner there. Of course, if you want to support future production, you can do that through clicking Super Thanks down here, which lets me know which videos you particularly like, or you can support me through Patreon and Buy Me a Coffee. Links to both of those are in the information box below. Enough of all that then, let's go on and make this MiG-29 from ICM in 1/72 scale in the colours of the GHOST of Kyiv. I'm making a start with the cockpit as usual. Here I'm going to paint the tub and instrument panel with a USAF medium grey, as it seems about right. I'll also use the same colour on the ejection seat for the moment. Now, looking at the instrument decals, there's little if any correlation between the decal sheet and the instrument panel, so I'm going to paint my own. It's really not too difficult to get a convincing look. First thing is to add black to all the dials, also the face of the panels where there's loads of buttons. Then a dark green colour to the multifunction panel and the radar screen. I guess that's what they are anyway. Then go to town with dry brushing and little spots of white, yellow and red, and before you know it, you'll have a convincing instrument panel. If you look closely, you'll see these are all just tiny dabs of colour, no detail per se, but from a distance they're very convincing. A couple of pale green dots on the screens and I'm done. I'm going to add the stick to the cockpit tub now. You can see I've also painted the side panels in black and I'll dry brush them later. The sides of the ejection seat I'm painting an off black, actually it's Revel Anthracite, as I think it looks better than a pure black. The straps I'll paint a generic kind of sandy colour, and when they're dry I'm going to add some panel wash to pick up the edges. Any overspill you can pick up with a clean brush. So now the ejection seat can be fitted into the cockpit tub. It needs to locate backwards against the depression it sits in to be in the right spot. Then the instrument panel can be set into the front end of the tub and the cockpit is complete. Well, while that's setting up, I'll take the fuselage halves off the sprue. There's a bit more flash everywhere than at first glance, so just sand bits down as you go along. Then the cockpit tub can go into place in the upper fuselage. Now I found this didn't sit absolutely right, as the upper fuselage was slightly sort of crimped out of shape. But by pushing the tub into place and using ultra thin cement, I was able to get it to sit just right. Don't be tempted to sand the tub to fit, because the upper fuselage won't then join the lower half properly. And there it is, I think quite convincing, especially as this will have a closed canopy. So the lower half of the fuselage needs some preparation. There are these ejector pins that should be sanded down to ensure a decent fit. Time for a confession, I missed the next bit. You should fit part B5 to the top of the nose wheel bay, as you can see here. I didn't notice this. Lesson learnt, make sure to read and understand everything in the instructions before you start and don't rush. So now, join the two halves of the fuselage together. There are locator pins and lips, but they don't seem to fit very well straight away. So what I did was start at the back, get that done and then work my way forward. I got all the rear fuselage aligned, then taped and clamped it. I then added ultra thin cement to hold it all together. Then I taped up the nose in what seemed to be the right position. Now while all that's set, there's plenty of time to start on building the missiles. These big old AA-10s need half of their fins added. There's also plenty of time to start painting the wheels and tyres. Now with the rear of the fuselage set, I'll make sure the front fits together properly. I'm going to add a dab or two of super glue or CA glue as a kind of spot weld here. And once those are done and I'm happy, I can go around the seam with ultra thin cement. Leaving that to one side again, I'll start on the air inlets. These come in two halves with some tabs to help locate the edges. Now I found it easiest to get the two halves in place on this bottom seam first and then seal it with some ultra thin cement. When that's done, I can secure this inside clip with more cement. The intake ramp slots into place like this. Then the small splitter plate goes in at the top, and then repeat the whole process for the other side. The exhausts come in two pieces each, a turbine disc and a nozzle. They simply glue together. When these are all dry, the intakes go on the belly of the fuselage and align with the engine housing. And with those set, I'll add the wings, tailplane and some fins. All of these go on with very straightforward slots, although do be aware the slots are different for each fin to make sure they go on the correct sides. Then the exhausts can go on the back of the engine pods. Then leave everything alone for quite a while to set up. Next I'll paint the inside of the canopy area. I'm using the base colour for the top, which is a USAF light grey, and then I'll add some black to the instrument boxes. Then the canopy can just slide into place. You'll see I've already taped up the edges, and when it's set the windshield can go in. When they're all set up nicely, I'll coat the inside of the masks with liquid mask. Then on to painting, and the whole kit gets some grey primer before the top gets a couple of coats of USAF light grey. It's supposed to be some sort of off-white, but I didn't have time to get some, so I used the closest thing I had. I guess you could maybe add white to something like light gull grey too. Anyway, the underside gets a coat of sky grey. Then, with the paint all set, it's on to the pixel camouflage decals. Start out with a few of the smaller pieces to get used to handling them. They're very thin, but surprisingly strong. I didn't manage to tear any, and I was being quite forceful at times. You'll soon develop a feel for them. The trickiest one of all is this huge decal across the back. Now, because it's got to go over the hump of the fuselage, I thought I'd start on one side, then drape it over the spine. It wasn't too bad, in fact. Just keep plenty of water at hand to help pick up small sections to reposition them and to take out creases. And once you've done that, plenty of decal setting solution, and it actually sits really quite well. Now I know it's not perfect, but I am pretty happy with my first ever pixel camouflage. Other decals can be added once these have dried fully. Moving on now, and I've got some metal panels to paint at the back of the engine, a kind of steel for the covers, then a burnt iron for the exhausts themselves. Right then, back to building, and it's the undercarriage. Now, the main gear leg fits into a quite supportive hole here, with a trailing actuator link that sits into a hole at the back. The nose gear has an actuator leg at the front. These main gear doors kind of hook over the edge and sit wide open. The other doors sit next to the main gear leg. At the nose there are two gear doors and a small cover for the actuator leg. While all those are setting, I will start adding the missile pylons. These small gear door actuators can be fitted next, and then I'm going to add the wheels. The main wheels just slip on. The nose wheels have shaped slots, so they sit with the FOD guard at the back. Next I'll add the missiles. I painted them white with a kind of fiberglass nose for the big AA-10s. The last few pieces can go on now with some landing lights for the main gear doors, a couple of antennas for the nose, and the glass cover for the IRST detector. And with that, my Ghost of Kyiv is complete. So I did have a few issues along the way, mainly making absolutely sure that all the pieces are cleaned and dry fitting. There's a little bit more flash than at first view. Otherwise the fit is generally okay. The decals are a challenge but look really cool, and the end result is very pleasing. Now if, unlike me, you don't rush and you take your time, this will be a very creditable kit. There we are then. I'm really glad I made that model. I've never made a MiG-29 before and I'm happy I made this one. Can't be better. Okay, if you've enjoyed the video, hope you have done. Please do remember to say so by clicking the like button down there. And if you haven't yet done so, please do subscribe to my channel. You do that by clicking on the small logo in the bottom right corner. It doesn't cost you anything, helps me enormously. Okay, do come back for the combo special with the history of the MiG-29 and of the Ghost of Kyiv tomorrow. And otherwise, I'll see you back on the channel very soon, I hope. Thanks very much for watching. I'll see you next time.